What's good? It's Woog. I recently went to the Erykah Badu Unfollow Me tour. The opener for this tour was Yasiin Bey, formerly known as Mos Def. And so I was super excited about this tour and it delivered. I mean, she was as enchanting as ever. Her voice is still super intact. I grew up a big Mos Def fan. I mean, that was one of my favorite eras of music, when that type of then called conscious hip hop started to, work its way into the mainstream. This is just before Kanye West, even though Kanye West's College Dropout album kind of accelerated that process to where then you had Commons B. But, Mos Def and Talib Kweli as Black Star, they were kind of rising at the time of The Roots' Things Fall Apart, followed by Phrenology. Common was releasing Like Water for Chocolate and then The Electric Circus. Erykah Badu was releasing her second album, Mama's Gun. D'Angelo was releasing Voodoo. So this is around that 99, 2000, 2001 time where Mos Def was dropping, again, Black Star with Talib Kweli. That might have even been in 98, but then Black on Both Sides, Mos Def's solo album. And then shortly after that, Talib and DJ High Tech dropped Reflection Eternal, Train of Thought. So this was a great time. I mean, this was the type of hip hop that used to play second fiddle to what was, prominent in the mainstream. But in that 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002 era, you had the, again, more conscious hip hop kind of becoming more prominent. So, and you had its fan base growing immensely. So at this concert, again, Mos Def, Yasiin Bey was the opener. And the one thing that struck me as odd is that all these people came out for an Erykah Badu concert, right? That's where I got this shirt, actually. Unfollow Me tour. But people came out to the Erykah Badu concert for Erykah Badu, but I just thought that there was a lot more overlap in the fan bases between who would be Erykah Badu fans and who would have been more familiar with Mos Def's music. Because I would say that the crowd was polite with Mos Def. They didn't act anxious. They weren't on some, where's Erykah? Bring out Erykah type of stuff. They, a lot of people in the front waved their hands and you had a lot of applause between songs. But just in terms of lyric recognition, outside of Miss Fat Booty, Mos Def's, biggest single, the I Know I Can't Afford, that was the Aretha Franklin sample. And so everybody was pretty familiar with that one, even though Yasiin Bey, Mos Def performed it to a different beat. He had the DJ put on something different and he performed the lyrics there after kind of teasing the song by playing the Aretha Franklin record that song samples to kind of, you let the person on the song just work their way through the verse and then they get into the part of the chorus that is used in the Mos Def Miss Fat Booty song. So everybody was familiar with that. And, I didn't expect everybody or even most people to be familiar with his work from The Ecstatic. The Ecstatic, had a lot of songs that he performed here. The Ecstatic was his fourth album. It was 2009. And, you could argue that The Ecstatic might be Mos Def's second best solo album. So it's his fourth solo album, and I'm not counting Black Star. That was a duo album with him and Talib. But if you count Black on Both Sides, The New Danger, True Magic, and then The Ecstatic you could argue was better than 2004's The New Danger and 2006's True Magic. Mos Def is a bit of an enigma in that he came out with so much fire between that Black Star album and the Black on Both Sides album, again, 98 and 99, that people were almost left wanting because it would be another 5 years after Black on Both Sides before Mos would release his follow-up, The New Danger, where you saw him perform a song from that on, the Chappelle Show. But Mos Def, for as good and as quality as he is, he was not the most prolific artist. And I feel like that kind of soured a lot of fans over the years where they just wanted more of him. And, he didn't totally disappear from the music scene in the way that Lauryn Hill did. I mean, he would, again, every few years drop an album that usually underwhelmed by the standard that he set with his earlier work. So, he was kind of very elusive to the music public. people just wanted to see him follow up Black on Both Sides with something comparable to that. And we didn't quite get that with The New Danger and True Magic. But again, The Ecstatic was pretty good. There were some good songs, and he performed those songs at this concert. People weren't totally aware. I found myself just shouting the lyrics, and maybe a few other people, they knew what was up too. But by and large, the majority of the Erykah Badu fans did not know. But they did know, the couple of songs that he played from Black on Both Sides. He didn't play a lot. He played like hip hop. He played obviously Miss Fat Booty and Mathematics. That's the album closer from Black on Both Sides. That was a DJ Premier beat. He played that, and he had this beautiful ode to his mother. It was almost a tearjerker, beautiful moment in the concert. And Yasiin Bey Mos Def was like dropping flower petals in the beginning of the concert. That was pretty cool. But he didn't play hardly anything from The New Danger and True Magic. But even when he was playing those Black on Both Sides classics, I thought that more of the Erykah Badu fans would be more familiar with Mos Def's work. And he did bring out Talib Kweli at a point. They only played one song together. It was, they kind of broke into a verse. They each like shared a verse, and then they did an actual song from Black Star, at least from the original Black Star album. But it wasn't the one that I think most wanted to hear. I think most wanted to hear the definition. 1, 2, 3, Mos Def and Talib Kweli. And, hardly anybody heard their comeback album in 2022, No Fear of Time, that, it didn't really catch a lot of fanfare. But the song that Mos performed with Talib when Talib came out was Respiration. That was the kind of a definition remix. It featured Common, although, Common didn't show up, at that show. But I just thought that they would have done that classic. And, I was just privately hoping that they would do maybe like Brown Skin Lady. Je, head wrap cover your hair, do. I love that song. If you haven't heard Brown Skin Lady from that 1998 Black Star album, that's a beautiful song. Listen to that one. I was kind of hoping that they would play that Brown Skin Lady. Sure, head wrap cover your hair, do. But with playing that song, Respiration, I thought that more Erykah Badu fans would have been familiar with that. But, Mos Def was a great sport about it. He was actually pretty funny. He said, look, many of y'all might not know my work. Some of y'all do. It's all good. I'm here to support my girl, my friend, Erykah. And if you are not familiar with my work, you could just look at me as the local talent. And I just thought that was tight. He just, kind of humbly referred to himself as the local talent as he's supporting Erykah Badu's tour. So that was pretty dope. And he delivered in terms of what he gave us. I was kind of worried because sometimes when you get these super artistic types, right? Think Erykah Badu, think Mos Def, think, Lauryn Hill, think, anybody who you could see going to their concert, and then they don't give the people what they want. They give the people what they feel inspired to do in that moment. Sometimes the crowd loves it, sometimes they don't. But it's a mixed bag, and sometimes you could get something that's not even remotely resembling what the crowd would have wanted. No. Mos Def, Yasiin Bey, he gave the people, if there were Mos Def fans in the house, I feel like he gave them what they wanted. And obviously, same thing with Erykah. They both killed it. And Mos Def, he still has good breath control. He's still a fun performer. And Erykah, again, she's as enchanting as she's ever been. She played, those few hits from her debut Baduism. I'm talking, On and On, Apple Tree, The Other Side, or Other Side of the Game, and Next Lifetime, right? Those were the big singles from her most, I think still her most commercially successful album, Baduism. Although I think most people's favorite Erykah album might be Mama's Gun, the second album with Didn't You Know? That was a Jay Dilla beat. Speaking of Jay Dilla, before Erykah came out, she had her band kind of play the beat from The Healer. The Healer is track 2 on Erykah Badu's 4th album, New America Part 1. That's the very spooky beat, but that's the one. This one is for Dilla hip hop. It's bigger than my hip hop. It's bigger than the government. Like, it's a super cool song. Listen to Erykah Badu, The Healer. They just kind of played that beat while the spooky part of the beat, just with listen to the beat, you'll know what I'm talking about. And, the crowd that knew what was up, they started to get kind of hot when they heard that because they knew that, oh, damn, Erykah's about to come out. So I thought that was a very clever teaser before she came out. But yeah, She performed, basically the hits that people would expect her to play, even though she didn't play Bag Lady. That was a pretty popular single. She didn't play Tyrone. That was one of her biggest singles, right? I don't know if she played that song from the soundtrack. What was it? Back in the Day. She did play Love of My Life. That's the one with Common, but again, Common wasn't there. So yeah, she performed phenomenally. I was surprised that her voice still sounds just like she sounded throughout the years. Usually or often you'll get like a little degradation or deterioration in the vocal qualities as artists age, especially if they are singers that rely on certain vocal attributes. But no, Erykah Badu was still intact. But yeah, I just wanted to say that, I loved the concert. I liked Mos Def's performance. I liked Erykah's performance. I was just a little surprised that there weren't more Erykah Badu fans that were up on Mos Def's work. And, I thought that there were just going to be a lot more people who were able to kind of shout the lyrics with them, or at least kind of signal recognition when you hear like the beat for hip hop, right? Track 2 on Black of Both Sides start. I thought that there were going to be more people like, oh yeah, that's my, I thought that there was going to be more of that vibe, but it was almost as if this was a lot of people's first exposure to Mos Def or experience in Mos Def, which was a bit surprising to me. But I guess that just shows how much Erykah Badu has continued to gain fans over the years, even though she hasn't been the most prolific artist herself. I mean, she's been more prolific, I believe, overall than Mos Def. Like, she had the Baduism, Mama's Gun, Worldwide Underground. That was 2003. But after that, she really hasn't been prolific. She had the New America Part 1, that was 2008. She had the New America Part 2 in 2010. So we're still talking 13 years ago. In the past 13 years, she's only dropped that But You Can't Use My Phone, which she played a few songs off of that and performed that at this concert. Very good mixtape, but it was called But You Can't Use My Phone. That was 2015. So she hasn't dropped anything like in the past 8 years. But she just has an enormous fan base, and props to her. I remember when she first debuted in 1997, I wasn't sure what to make of her because, everything that she was bringing to the table culturally, it was so unlike what was in the mainstream. If you look at who was hot in 95, 96, Erykah came in 97 and everybody's like, damn, what is she on? I mean, that was a lot of people's first time seeing like the Ankh. She's got the Ankh, tattoo, and a lot of her references and imagery and spiritualism. Like a lot of these things, you could argue kind of ushered in the neo soul era, and that neo soul era kind of coincided with that underground or conscious hip hop rising to prominence. So on the neo soul side, after, with Erykah, you then had, Music Soul Child, you had Dwele, you had, obviously D'Angelo debuted before Erykah. He had that first Brown Sugar album like in the mid 90s. I'm talking 95, 96. Erykah came a little bit after that, but yeah, it was kind of one collective movement when you combine the conscious hip hop with the neo soul. But yeah, this concert kind of, in a way sort of celebrated that. But again, I just thought more people knew what was up when it came to Yasiin Bey, Mos Def. But yeah, if you went to the concert, let me know. If you've ever seen Erykah Badu or Mos Def live, let me know what your impressions were. And if you do have any favorite Erykah Badu album, let me know what that is. Same goes for Mos Def, and you could include the Black Star work. And in that whole realm, who are a few of your favorite neo-soul artists? I mean, there's also Amel Larue, who was formerly of Groove Theory. Then she had a very good solo career herself. There was also Goapele. Y'all remember Goapele in the early 2000s? There were just several very good and interesting artists at that time. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you love music like I do. I'm Woog. Thanks for tuning in.